computer games technology, and then he left for industry, and then he came back, and now he's back again. So he has various experience from outside and inside of education, and now he actually is going to be talking about blockchain, as that is some, I would say, even maybe a new area where he is branching off to. So welcome, Jake, and handing it over to you.
Okay, I'm just going to share my screen. If I present, can you see this?
Yes. Also,
Okay,
just a quick
great.
note, this session is being recorded, everybody.
Okay, so first off, thanks for having me, Martin. It's great to be here, and thanks everyone for showing up to this session. I hope you're enjoying this event, and it's a great opportunity to develop your personal skills and professional skills and work in teams and build new things. So well done to everyone who's shown up. I'm Jake O'Connor, and I'm going to speak today. I'm not here. Well, this isn't an in-person event, so I thought I'd put a picture of myself so you can see me. So I studied here at Birmingham City University. I've got my degree in computer games technology, and then I went away for about 2 years to work in industry. I worked at a company called Li-Fi Gaming, where I developed gambling games, but I mostly worked on the game engines for these games. So I did a lot of programming in C++ and OpenGL to create a game engine which could work on lots of different platforms for different betting operators. And I also worked on kind of the development pipeline for these games. So when the artists would kind of build up the games in Photoshop, they'd kind of design the game in layers. I created kind of the tools that would take their Photoshop files, process all the layers, and put them into the game kind of really quickly and efficiently, so that we could just get straight to kind of programming the gameplay of the games. So that's what I did. Then I moved into teaching. I worked at Birmingham City University. I've taught for 3 years as an assistant lecturer, mostly specialising again in C++ and game engines. So I've taught 2D game programming in C++ and 3D using C++ and OpenGL. I've taught game network programming, so teaching how to make multiplayer games. Artificial intelligence and some networking modules as well. And recently I've just left my role as an assistant lecturer to start my own company called Games Interactive. And I'm going to talk a bit today about some of the technology behind what we're doing and the direction I think gaming will using blockchain. Is everything okay with the network, Martin? Because I've just seen a notification come up saying it's poor quality.
Sometimes I get the little lag, but mostly good. Is everyone else hearing Jake okay?
Okay.
I can see your stream and everything. I'm going to turn off my camera, see if that helps.
Yeah, if there's any problems, just interrupt me and let me know, and I'll go back. Okay, so in this talk, I'm going to talk a bit about blockchain, but first I'm going to talk about traditional banking and some of the problems that I think need to be solved. So back before 1971, we had a money system that was based on gold. So every dollar which was printed in the US was based on a reserve of gold. And this was good because it meant that we couldn't just print loads of money. There was a limit to how much money there was by the amount of gold that was owned by a country. And in 1971, this was abolished by President Nixon, I think. It's something called fiat money. The word fiat means let it be done, and it's just money which is basically printed with no value, and it's just a kind of promise that you know that the money will be paid. So when you give someone a note, it just says that on the note it will have some kind of promise written on it. But I mean, this works in most cases, but the one key area where this can go wrong is with inflation, because now we can kind of just print as much money as we want. So whenever there's any kind of crisis or something goes wrong, the government can just kind of print lots of money and spend it, and that devalues the money that we have, and it kind of makes everyone poorer in the country by doing this. And it also means that you can't spend, over a 30 to 40-year career and you're saving up for retirement. You can't really do that effectively with inflation, because when you start saving, your money devalues over time. So you lose a lot of money in the process. It's hard to plan and save for the future, and especially when you've got high rates of inflation. We've also got a fractional reserve banking system. So this means that when you deposit money into the bank has control of that money, and they can basically lend it out to people. So banks will typically only hold about 20% of the money people deposit, and the rest will get lent out to other on mortgages or loans. And it means that the bank's making money from the money deposit, not you. You don't really have control and ownership over your money. And the final thing is, it's difficult it's hard to exchange your currencies, and there's large exchange fees. And when it comes to business, it's actually quite slow and difficult to transact money. There are companies like PayPal which kind of, but there's still big flaws in the fact that PayPal they have control over the transactions. They can reverse payments. They can kick you off the platform, and you can be kind of left without it. So I've actually ran a business myself using PayPal, and it's not really an effective solution for running a business. I'm just going to show a chart and speak about the UK inflation rates a bit. So we can see here the timeline and the amounts of inflation which have gone on. So luckily, within our lifetime, since around 1990, the last 20 to 30 years, we can see that inflation has always been quite low. And this is quite good, but it does have a compounding effect over time. So if you start saving money in kind of 1990 and then want to spend it in today in 2020, you'll see that your money loses a lot of its spending power. But this graph doesn't really tell a full story, and we're going to move on to a different country here. So this is a third world country, Venezuela, and we can see that actually inflation over the last few years has been kind of in the 25% range for a long time, and it's kind of spiked up to over 250%. And even in 2020 now, inflation rates in Venezuela are in like the thousands of percent. And this means that it really creates a lot of poverty within the country, because all this money printed goes to governments and banks, and there's a lot of corruption. So it means that it makes everyone within this country poor. The average wage for people is still around $5 per week, but the cost of living isn't as cheap as to match what people earn. So to buy a bag of rice in this country would still cost around $1. So people are very poor, and inflation has hurt their currency quite a lot. And people don't actually use their own currency in this country. They'll use dollars, and a lot of people are kind of switching now towards cryptocurrency. So there's also Africa. In sub-Saharan Africa, it's very difficult to get a traditional bank account. A lot of people can't do it, and they're using different ways to transfer money on their mobile phones. It's very slow and expensive. You've got high transaction fees. And again, with inflation rates at the kind of 300% range, it just means that people can't save money to plan for their future like we can. A lot of people in the UK kind of save to buy their house and then buy a car and save for retirement, so that when they're too old to work, they can still afford to live. But that's just not possible in these third world countries due to the currencies that they use. So we need a better solution to this. So the one solution that we'll be discussing today is blockchain. The first blockchain that everyone should know of is Bitcoin. It was invented by Satoshi Nakamoto in around 2008. Blockchain as a technology is also used in loads of different other fields, and it has potential to be used in different fields, such as there's talks of it being used in the medical field to create like public notaries, and it's also used a lot currently in supply chain management. But the one thing that people currently associate a lot with blockchain is cryptocurrencies. So that's what we'll be focusing on today. And just a quick bit of information about Bitcoin. Currently, every day, $1.2 billion of Bitcoin is traded between people, and the total value of all the Bitcoins in the market is around 200 billion. So it's got a big audience of people using it. It's still not yet reached mass adoption where people like you and me are using it to transact money, but there's a lot of money which is put through Bitcoin, and lots of people that use it, and it's got this kind of strong following about it. And the way that cryptocurrencies can kind of solve some of the problems we spoke about before is cryptocurrencies will always have inflation, and we always need inflation because some money gets lost in currencies. So inflation is necessary to stop the value of currency going up. Otherwise, people would never spend their money. They would just hold on to it and keep it. But in cryptocurrencies, inflation is decided by code. It's not done by people. So it means that, if a crisis happens, we can't just go and print out a load of money to try and solve a problem. And we'll probably see this with COVID-19, where the governments have spent a lot of money to pay for people who have lost their jobs or can't work, and will have higher rates of inflation now, whereas cryptocurrencies, this could never happen with them. Anyone can get access to cryptocurrencies and use them, so there's no discrimination. We can't exclude poor people or people from certain countries, and that's great for countries like Africa where people can't get access to bank accounts. You have full control over your money, so there's no fractional reserve system. You can actually earn the interest on your money, and we'll talk about this a bit later, but there's different types of cryptocurrencies where you can earn interest, which is a lot better than current banking. So your money kind of grows over time, and it's not the banks that benefit from you holding lots of money. And compared to our current money system, you can send and receive payments very quickly and at a low cost. There's low transaction fees, and at the moment we might be used to kind of going and spending with our credit cards, and you can pay money very quickly, but for businesses and trading money across different countries and currencies, cryptocurrency is actually a lot better solution for sending payments. But there are a lot of current problems with cryptocurrencies. So the first one is there's almost no innovation going on at the moment. There's 5,000, almost 6,000 different types of coins on CoinGecko, and there's no real value added to these different types of coins. And the reason for this is there's lots of forking, because these cryptocurrencies are open source projects. People can just copy the source code for Bitcoin. They can change the Genesis block and do a few other minor changes and create their own coin. And a lot of people are doing this without thinking about how they can improve the user experience for people using these coins. At the moment, cryptocurrencies are only really used as a store of value. So you can't really spend your coins on things. You can just buy and sell money, cryptocurrencies for your fiat money. It's very difficult to use cryptocurrencies. It's hard to get into, and there's it's when you actually go to a lot of these websites like Coinbase to go and buy cryptocurrencies, there's a long list of steps in which you need to complete to just buy Bitcoin, and then you might need to go to different exchanges to trade for the other types of coins you want. So it's not very user friendly yet, and it's not widely adopted yet. Not many people are using these coins for the reasons previously stated. So I'm going to talk a bit about where I think the future of cryptocurrency will go. And there's one coin which I personally partnered with called Divi, which are trying to make cryptocurrency easy to use. Divi's developing an app which has an easy UI and allows for you to directly buy and sell cryptocurrencies and exchange them with other people. You can send funds to different contacts, and you've got like regular contacts that you can see with names and pictures, as opposed to sending using an address with like this one on the slide here, which isn't very, and there's kind of this scarcity that you might send your money to the wrong person and you can never reverse that payment. So you want to make sure that you're sending the money to the right person. Divi currently has a $350,000 daily market volume. So that's the amount of money people spend on buying and selling Divi each day. There's a $70 million market cap. We currently got 13,000 signups for the currency. If you want to learn a bit more about Divi, you can go to diviproject.org. And in case we've got coins where you can earn interest on your coins. And this is done through something called proof of stake. So Bitcoin is based on proof of work, where people verify transactions within the network based on solving cryptographic hashing functions. And this wastes a load of energy. It's really inefficient, and it means that people with all the money, you need a lot of money to go into mining, and it's only really efficient in certain areas where electric is cheap. Divi is based on a different system, so there's some coins which are based on proof of stake, and the difference is that you can verify transactions within the blockchain based on how much you own of that currency. So it's a good way for you to then buy some of this cryptocurrency, and you can earn interest on what you own, so it doesn't devalue over time. Next, I'm going to talk about kind of where I think products for cryptocurrency are gaming. So I think that to develop products for cryptocurrency users, they need to be really easy to use. They need to be just as easy as current applications that use fiat monies. And we should support both fiat money and cryptocurrency money in these applications so that people can onboard with their earnings and cash out by using crypto. I think that products that use cryptocurrency should aim to give people ownership of digital assets. And we'll talk about this a bit later, of some digital assets, some examples of how they can work and assets that people have owned. And I currently think that gaming is a perfect candidate for cryptocurrency users because it's kind of in the nature of, people that would own cryptocurrencies are likely to be gamers. So, and these people have nothing to spend their money on at the moment. So gaming's a good way to go forward to give people to spend money on something. There's also some great technologies within cryptocurrencies or blockchain that can be used in gaming. The first one is NFT tokens. So these are non-fungible tokens, or some people call them Nifties for short. And these are a graphic unique. So, for example, one Bitcoin will be equal to any other Bitcoin, but you can create different kind of assets on a blockchain that are different to each other. So, for example, a ticket to something, a front row ticket is different to a back row ticket. We can look at how this can be introduced into gaming, so that people can have ownership of their items and transact them with one another without the game developers having control over everything within the game. And a lot of this can be done on the Ethereum blockchain. So main technology, you can just use what's already out there and put your assets on the Ethereum blockchain, which is widely used and well supported. So NFT tokens can be used to represent like in-game assets, so items you might have in a game. They're controlled by the player instead of the developer, so the item is on the blockchain and that person that owns it has the true ownership of that item. They can be sold on marketplaces without developer permissions. And be transferable between, say, comic books and games. So you own an item in an interactive comic book, and then you can use that in a game later on. There's another technology which is called smart contracts, and this gives you the potential to loan your NFT tokens to other people. So you could borrow an item that you own to a friend within a game, or even make them pay to use it for you could have fractional ownership of game items shared between, or you could potentially use your NFT tokens if they've got a value attached to them. They could become collateral for a loan, like a mortgage or something. So I'm going to talk about some of the apps which I'm partnered with, which are using these kind of technologies. The first one is Chalk, which is a tournament system for gamers, and this is great because at the moment there's not many users on this platform, and there's some free competitions. So the idea is that you can have tournaments within games. You can compete against your friends and pay a small fee to enter these tournaments, but win prizes in cryptocurrency. And currently there's some free tournaments going, so if you're into gaming and potentially winning small amounts of money, then go and check out Chalk. The link is at the top here, chalkapp.co. The next one is Lightning Works, which is a company that creates digital comic books. They've got their own creator app, which allows people to contribute by developing their own comics and earn money by selling them. And due to the interactive nature of these comic books and how they work, you'll be able to earn Nft tokens within the comic books through different kind of activities. They might have games built in, or there'll be certain Easter eggs within the comic books where you can earn these Nft tokens. And Lightning Works is actually the company that they brought into my company, Games Interactive. So they've created a comic book called Siege Worlds, and they've paid us to develop the game for them. So we'll be working very closely with Lightning Works. And the Nft tokens, which will be in the Siege Worlds comic book, you'll be able to use within the games that we'll be creating. And then there's my company, Games Interactive. We're going to focus on multiplayer online gaming. We want to give users the ability to own the items that they have in their games and earn cryptocurrency rewards through gaming. So you can the idea is that our games will have items which are limited in capacity, and people will be able to play and compete for them and then also sell them on to other people. So you have full ownership of the items you earn within our games. And to kind of show the significance, I thought I'd mention some of the items which have already been sold in games for real world money. So the biggest one that I could find was there's a game called Entropia Universe, and there was actually a planet which was sold in this game for $6 million of real world money, which I don't know much about this game, so I'm not sure why someone paid this much, but I thought that was interesting. The next one is a game I've actually played. It's called RuneScape, and there's this item within the game called a blue party hat. These items were kind of introduced but in around 2001, and they were only introduced once into the game for people that were playing at that time during Christmas. They could go and get one of these different coloured party hats, and since they're so rare in the game, there's a scarcity within the item, and lots of people want it. If you wanted to buy this item for real world money today, you'd have to buy it from another player. You can't buy it from the company Jagex, and it would cost around $2,500 to buy. There's also currently digital collectibles which use Nifty tokens on the blockchain. So there's a game called Kitties, and the idea is you can buy and breed different types of kittens, and some of them become rare, and then you can sell or buy kittens. And one of these Nifty tokens for this rare dragon kitty sold for $170,000 worth of Ethereum tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. So the idea for our company is we're going to develop this game called Siege Worlds. It's a player versus entity game, so you'll be playing against non-player characters, lots of different types of characters that will spawn and use intelligent AI to try and kill you. So we're going to really focus on making the AI really good. Currently, a lot of games just aren't doing this well. Games that I've played, like some of the Call of Duty zombie games where you've got waves of enemies, they just kind of walk at you or run at you and don't do much. So we want to use intelligent AI to create real interactive enemies. We're also going to support virtual reality within our game, so you can play in VR and try to implement lots of different player mechanics and lots of realism within the game to make it fun. And the idea is that players will pay to enter this world, and you can kill different types of monsters, and each one will drop different cryptocurrencies. So you can earn cryptocurrencies by defeating waves of enemies within the game. So I think that the future of gaming will kind of see mass adoption of blockchain in gaming and Nifty tokens being used so that players have ownership of the items that they get within games, and there'll be a lot of digital scarcity. I think that over time you'll kind of see games where you've got long-term ownership of your game items and your Nifty tokens. So game assets become kind of real, valuable, kind of real world assets that you can own that are worth money. And I think that over time we'll see a lot more gamers from third world countries come to get the equipment to kind of join in with gaming. So there'll be a lot more kind of competition, and this will be good because it will, if you've got people from third world countries playing these games, the value of these items are worth a lot more to people from that country. So it creates this environment where game items can be worth a lot. There's a lot of scarcity and a lot of competition, and it's very fun and rewarding if you can get hold of these Nifty tokens. Finally, I just thought I'd end this talk with a bit of advice if any of you were looking at starting a business. So I've started Games Interactive about 2 months ago now. Started it a bit before, but I've went full time into it just recently. I've managed to sell a part of the business to external investors. So that means I can pay myself a salary for a long period of time. And also I've employed freelance artists and programmers. So we're in a really strong position at the moment. What I would say is if you are thinking of starting a business, don't delay starting it. Just go ahead and do it. Find a good team of people that you can work with and share your equity with everyone, so everyone's invested in the business and can get rewarded from it. Don't try to just create your own product where you're doing everything. Focus on the areas you're good at. So for example, with Games Interactive, we're developing this game Siege Worlds, but we're not really doing all of the marketing and other things that are involved with running a game. We're just focusing on what we know, which is the development side. So through our partnership with other companies, we don't have to worry about spending years creating a product that might not succeed and get enough players to become profitable. We can just do the bit we know. And really start small if you can. Do some small contracts for other people. You never know where by doing bits of work you could end up getting larger deals and being able to kind of go full time and support yourself through your own business like I have. At Games Interactive, we're going to run a crypto hack event, so it will be similar to this event. It will be like a game jam or hackathon where you can attend and write software, but the focus will be on including cryptocurrency technology in your applications. We'll be giving away a $10,000 prize to the winning team. We want to wait till COVID-19's kind of gone away for that, so we can host it in person. So if you're interested in that, follow us on Twitter and we'll announce it on there when we've got the dates and stuff set up. We've also got opportunities at Games Interactive, so if you want to volunteer at all to help us develop our games or develop artwork, get in touch. We're also looking for a full-time art director, and we're also hiring full-time software developers. So if you're interested in any of these, or even if you've got your own idea for a cryptocurrency company or project that you want to work on, you want to discuss it or potentially collaborate together, then get in contact. My email address is jake@gamesinteractive.co.uk. My Twitter handles here, Jake__O'Connor. And that's it. Thanks everyone for listening, and I'll take any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you, Jake.
I noticed the chat went off a few times, I think. Oh, with people leaving and
I have more
joining.
actually people in, yeah, so it looks like they've joined. So anyone, any questions?
Yeah. Any questions at all? Thanks, Adam. I'm glad you found it useful. It's my first time giving a talk like this, so I hope it's not been too boring.
Oh no, it was definitely very informative. Especially, I don't know if many people find this maybe important, but I find it very cool, the little introduction about money, actually. You know, money is something that's a big part of very many people's lives, and I guess a lot of people don't realize where it comes from, I suppose.
Mhm.
So, okay. Let's see if I can come up with some questions. This hackathon that you're saying you having, are you having some dates in mind, or are you just kind of saying this is what I'm gonna do, or is it something already planned?
We really want to run it kind of late next year, but I definitely
Okay.
want it to wait till the kind of daily infections rate drops to kind of double digits, maybe. If that happens within a year or two, then we'll
Awesome.
do
Hannah
it
has some.
then. Do this
Who
will
is
be,
it?
yeah, I think, well, my company's based on this being a long-term thing, so I hope it is. There's a lot of people using cryptocurrencies, and it's always growing, so I think that it will last long term. There's so much money going through cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin that it's not going to just die off one day and stop. So yeah, I think it will be. I believe in cryptocurrencies, but I'm sure what you meant about the thing about money in Second Life. How did you judge when it was a good time to get outside investment, and how did you find the process of doing this? So I didn't actually really plan to start a company. Long goal, but I thought I'd have to save money every year for like 5 to 10 years to start my own business. I had some extra time when COVID happened. I was working at home all the time, so I had some spare time and reaching out to different people and doing stuff. Like literally the first contract job I did was for like, well, I just started helping people I knew for like $5 to $10 for something that would take an hour or 2 hours, so it was totally pointless. And then I started getting more work coming in after that, and finally someone reached out to me asking if I could build a prototype game for them for just like, I think it was like $2,000 they paid me first, which I did. They were happy with the work and they wanted me to provide long-term support for that game and carry on developing it. So they kind of asked what figure I would need to grow a team and go full-time into my own company. And we arranged a deal to do that. So they brought a part of my company, and I gave up my job and started working on it full time. So I think that if you can get investment early on when you're starting a business, it's really good, because it just means that it eliminates your risk. A lot of people think of starting a business as creating your own product, doing all of the coding, design, and marketing yourself, and then you spend years developing something and then hoping it makes money at the end. But if you can get external investors on board, then you've got money at the start of your journey to then you eliminate the risks so that you can just focus on maybe one aspect of it. We focus on the coding, Lightning Works does all of the design and marketing, and we can hopefully build a successful business that way. Thanks, Liam, for saying it was a useful talk. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Okay.
Anything else? Thanks, Adam.
Thank you so much. There's maybe something more
So
coming.
last thing, Jake.
Yeah.
If you're still there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Obviously, listening to your idea about that hack you were talking about. You know, sounds really good. You know, you've seen what we can do, and you've seen our platform. You know, maybe we can get into a talk a bit later for hosting that for you. You know, we've got the structure, and we've got the outreach. Maybe we can get into a talk later.
Yeah,
if you're up for
if
that.
you can get in contact with me through my email, I'm happy
Yeah.
to discuss.
Yeah, I can drop you an email after this.
Again, I hate marketing myself. I'm not good at it. So if you guys can handle that side of things, that would be great.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Let's follow up with this, in a bit. I'll drop you an email, and we can take it from there.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Hannah. I think that's everything. So if anyone's got any further questions or wants to get in touch, feel free to email me or contact me on Twitter.
Yes, thank you very much. We're gonna be conscious about time a little bit. There is new next session at 4. But thank you very much for this very interesting talk, Jake. And
okay, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.